Julia on. Okay, Chris,
Yeah,
whenever
just
you're
connecting
ready
to the live
for
stream.
the recording yet?
I am recording and the live stream is going.
All right, well, we'll call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Montana Board of Public Education. This is a Zoom meeting to take place on March 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for
which it
stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice.
for all.
All right, Chris, will you please call the roll?
Sheriff Tharp.
Here.
Ron Slinger.
Here.
Lisa Schmidt. Julia Maxwell.
Here.
Madeline Quinlan.
Here.
Hannah Neeskens.
Excused.
Renee Rasmussen.
Excused.
Gavin Mao.
Excused.
Superintendent Arnson's office. Commissioner Christian's office. Governor Gianforte's office.
All right, thank you, Chris. Established we do have a quorum present. The Board of Public Education encourages the public to participate in board discussions. Persons who wish to participate should sign the public comment sign-in sheet or identify themselves to the board chair or executive director prior to the board's consideration of the matter in which the persons are concerned. Anyone wishing to participate in board discussions will be recognized by the chair in keeping with normal board parliamentary procedure. We discourage public comment on personnel matters and ask that you discuss these issues in private with the board chair. Montana Board of Public Education is a professional development unit provider. Attending a Board of Public Education meeting may qualify you to receive professional development units. All right, with that being said, do we have any visitors?
None on Zoom, Mr. Chair.
All right, well, I'd entertain a motion to adopt our agenda.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion by Member Quinlan, seconded by Member Schmidt to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor of adopting the agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, move on. Our one agenda item, it refers to the Charter Committee, and I'll hand things over to Dr. Ron Slinger.
Thank you, Chair Tharp. So before we move forward with a motion for adoption of these, I'd like to ask Executive Director Flynn to just give us a little background on how the MOU process played out. Is there anything new on these? I believe it's the same exact MOU we used previously, so there shouldn't be anything new. But just asked her to give us little highlights before I make a motion for approval.
Happy to. Thank you, Mr. Chair. After your meeting in January, we, and the approval of 5 new public charter schools, we went back to the contracts. We really reviewed them to make sure that there wasn't anything that needed to be changed. As you guys know, we've changed the contracts a couple times, but I think that the ones that we have now are still pretty solid. So as Dr. Slinger said, we did send the same contract of those that are in the 19 that are now under the year 1 contracts. We reached out to each of the approved public charter schools and asked them to have their charter governing board chair sign those contracts. We received all of them back without any question or any concern, which I think is a testament to all the work that we did in year 1. And as you guys all know, there are requirements in 20-6-806 that say that we have to execute charter contracts within 45 days. That's why we're here in this special meeting. Unfortunately, the 45th day was on Monday before our board meeting, and our agency bill has not passed the legislature yet. But I want to point you to page 8 of the packet. Like I said, these are all the same, so I don't think it's necessarily worth going through each and every one of them, but I would like to give you just sort of some highlights of what is in the contract. So each of the 5 approved public charter schools plans to open and operate in the 25-26 school year. If you remember last year, We had 2 that asked for that delay. We do not have that this year. All will be required to submit an initial statement. All will be required to submit quarterly financial statements. All will be required to also submit their most recent audit. All are required to adhere to performance framework requirements, and all are required to submit any contracts or audits with education service providers that they choose to contract with. As far as next steps, after today's meeting, I will send the good news and signed and executed charter contracts back to each of the 5 new public charter schools. We'll also send a timeline to them so they know when some of these pieces are required to be submitted and they can really plan for that. I will tell you early on that the submission is pretty simple, but I know once we get into the school year and they have performance frameworks and quarterly financial statements, it does get a bit busier. So we want to make sure we send them something that they have a heads up on everything that's required. Mr. Chair, I'll turn it back to you unless there are any questions from the board.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for McCall? Okay. Madeline, I'm sorry. Member Quinlan, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. It looked like you had something just right on the tip. So,
A little gem.
Gem, I'm sure it would. Chair Tharp, if acceptable to you, I'm ready to make a motion.
Please proceed.
I move to approve the public charter contracts for the 5 public charter schools approved by the Board of Public Education as noted in the agenda packet. Is there
Got a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a motion to approve the 5 contracts for the charter schools we approved at the previous meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Board Member Quinlan. Board member discussion. Executive Director Flynn, what can you share with the board, and then just for the general public knowledge, how do these schools, are they working together? Are previous schools kind of working together in figuring out how to their response, their reporting and that sort? I know that we've got direction with, I've been working with MASBO and some of the others to try to streamline the processes. The absolute last thing we want is to create additional burdens, but we do have to meet these reporting requirements. So how are the schools cooperating together to meet their respective goals?
So that's a great question, Mr. Chair. I would say specifically for the quarterly financial statements, there was a lot of work that was done previously when we put those forms out to work with MASBO to make sure that the information we were asking for wasn't too daunting, but yet it still gave the board good information on what are new costs to these public charter schools, what are ongoing costs. So I think that was a really good process for us to use. You know, we've been really working really closely with those school business officials. We also put together some examples because we know that that's going to be helpful for folks, especially in their first year, trying to figure out exactly what we're looking for. So I think that's been a good thing as well. I know we haven't done too much collaborative work as far as like around the performance framework, but I definitely could see something like that happening in the future, maybe at a SAM conference or maybe at an OPI conference, something where we're pulling charters together and talking about best practices.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, as this group continues to grow, I can see them definitely being something at some sort of a conference where they would be meeting together and collaboratively with their unique issues that they face. All right. Thank you. Any other board member questions or discussion? Is there any public comment before we vote?
None online, Mr. Chair.
All right. All those in favor of approving these 5 contracts signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. Well done, Dr. Slinger. All right. Is there any public comment?
There's none online, Mr. Chair.
All right. Well, that is it. We appreciate everybody taking a few minutes out of their day to get this important job taken care of, and wish everybody safe travels. And we'll see you all in Helena, East Helena, next Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right. With that, this meeting of the Board of Public Education is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.